This is what you get if you're vlogging, shooting using your camera phone from the main camera. And in my case here, I am using 23mm focal point from my Xiaomi 15. Should you ever need something which is a lot wider, something like, would be able to capture a lot more details around you, how about do this? An easy fix. Let me just show you. Something like this. You see here? I just gonna screw it on. Okay. Now, how about this? Better? Much wider, right? This is how it looked like with my Xiaomi 15 23mm primary lens without any kind of fisheye attachment. And I want you to pay attention to the quality of the resolution all around me, from the middle all the way to the four corners. And just have a look at any kind of anomalies. If I do this, quickly turn around, okay, some action oriented. And now let's just try using the fisheye lens. 4K 24 frame per second with a shutter speed of 50. So pay attention to my middle and everything around it to see if there's any kind of distortion, any kind of motion blur. And I'm gonna move it around like this under difficult lighting condition. There's not enough light here. So how does it perform? And I'm gonna move quickly like this. Done. And this time running 4K 30 frames per second with the shutter speed set at 60. And this is pretty much the most common standard used by many people. So again, pay attention to my background and everything around me. Is there any kind of motion blur in the middle when I move it like this? And I'm just gonna continue walking, and I'm just gonna do the same thing, which is rotating like this. How is it? 4K 60 frames per second and shutter speed of 125. Now it is definitely running at much faster frame rate and also much faster shutter speed. So what if I do this? Okay. What do you see in the middle? Is there any sort of motion blur? Is there any kind of vigneting or anything like that? Any anomalies? And I'm just gonna do the same thing again, which is circling fast like this. How is it? There you have it. Results will always speak for itself, objectively. In order to get the very best out of this NEEWER LS-29 Pro ultra-wide fisheye lens when attached to your phone, in my case here, Xiaomi 15, which is one of the very best camera phone that you can find in the market now, it is absolutely necessary to use the fastest shutter speed and also frame rate. I would even say that I would not use anything under 4K 60p when attached to my phone like this, because if I go lower than that, especially in challenging lighting condition, I get that middle motion blur, which is very unpleasant. And now, how about photography? Let's just do a bit of comparison, which I have done earlier. I think it is quite common knowledge that whenever you add an element in front of your lens, especially something like a teleconverter or even fisheye converter like this one here, you are bound to introduce another element to the part of the image itself, which also translates that it may impact the final result itself. As you have seen just now, comparison between side by side between this lens and without this lens, it is clear to me that I am losing a bit of resolution, a bit of clarity, a bit of, let's say, imaging depth, especially when it comes to macro and micro detail. I'm just gonna simply say that this lens will be suitable for anything which require ultra wide field of view. But if you intend to use this for macro, definitely no go, because as you have seen just now, I am losing a bit of resolution and imaging at around up to 20%. This is the widest field of view that you can get from any camera. Ultra wide 10mm lens. There. Look at that. Ultra wide on a full frame sensor attached to my mirrorless camera. So let's just compare this with this side by side. I'm just gonna put them side by side on the same field of view. Okay, so how's that? How's the view behind me? The width, the height and everything. So which one is wider? Without a doubt, I'm pretty sure that this 10mm here is the widest still, because that 8mm there, you have to remember, is attached to a very small sensor, and this 10mm is without any kind of crop factor. Whenever you add an attachment to your phone, something like this here, this lens attachment here, you have to remember you are also adding a bit of weight, around 80 grams of additional weight, which you can feel. But other than that, I would say that overall I am very satisfied and in fact very impressed with the kind of result that I get from this NEEWER LS-29 Pro Fisheye lens 8mm with 220-degree field of view, because it was able to transform my already capable Xiaomi 15 here using the primary camera, because I don't want to use the front camera here because it does not perform the best, and also I do not want to use the 14mm built-in camera here. I want to use the primary camera, which is 23mm, into something which is usable for blogging purposes, for as long as I use the correct parameter. The keyword here is that you just need to understand the strength and the weakness of this device, because priced at just at around $75 US, I think it is a no-brainer to say that I would recommend this lens if you have similar need to me. Thank you so very much for watching the video, and now please click like and subscribe, and also follow me on Instagram at this handle here.